Hey guys, so I thought I would do a Q&A. I haven't done one since I reached 10,000 subscribers here on this channel. Thank you guys very much. And we are nearing 20,000 subscribers. I still can't believe I'm still getting over 10,000. So the idea of 20,000 is just, I can't accept it. It's like, I can't even think about it. But anyway, I thought I would do another Q&A, and I asked you guys for some questions that you want answers to. I figured let's focus this on personal stuff. Maybe we could do like a makeup Q&A another time. So I asked you guys for questions on my community tab in YouTube and also on Instagram. Hey guys, this is Editing Michele. I just wanted to mention that I am only going to be answering the YouTube questions in this video. I apparently had a lot to say, so thank you guys so much for all your questions. I'm going to be posting the answers to the Instagram questions very shortly. So if you would like to get personal with me, then just keep on watching. I almost forgot what I was doing. I'm like sitting here, and usually I have, if I'm doing like a tutorial, if I'm doing a product review, I have it in front of me. And we're not doing that today, and I don't have anything in front of me. So I was like, what are we doing here? We are doing a Q&A, Michele. Get it together. Let's start with the questions on YouTube. So the very first one is from Georgia Harris. She is a fellow YouTuber. I adore her. She reminds me of me when I was her age. She's much younger. I could be her mother. I think she's like 25-ish. So anyway, she and a good friend of hers and another fellow YouTuber that I very much enjoy, Lacey, of Spooky Lips and Fat Hips, they have a podcast on YouTube. It's called the Half Cousins Podcast, and they always have a guest on, and it's usually we talk about stuff that's not really makeup related. So I was on a couple Sundays ago. It's always on Sunday night. I was on a couple Sundays ago. We talked about infomercials. It was so funny. And they introduced me to like an infomercial celebrity, almost like a Billy Mays, but her name is Kathy. Oh my God, what is her name? Kathy someone. Anyway, but she does a lot of like kitchen pots and pans, and she's known for her dump cakes where you just sort of dump all the ingredients and bake it. And she promotes these like copper pans. I got totally sucked into this one pan that's like a flip witch. You can like, it's basically like a panini, but it's a pan. It's like a double-sided pan that you can use on your stovetop. And I was talking to my husband about it, and he was like, you don't really eat sandwiches. And I was like, oh. So I've been trying to think of what else I could use it for, because I'm determined to get this pan, but I haven't purchased it yet because I need to find a reason for the flip witch outside of just sandwiches. So that was Georgia's question. She wrote, hey, it's your girl Kathy. Did you buy my copper pans or flip witch yet? So that's my answer. Not yet. Next question is from Rented Fashion. This is Kat. She's another YouTuber that I enjoy very, very much. She wants to know what my fave steak place in Las Vegas is, and also favorite sushi place. So far, she's been to Zuma at Cosmo. I haven't been to the Zuma at Cosmo. I've actually been to the Zuma in London way back in the day. And then she's also been to Craft Steak at MGM. She says those are her favorites. I have not been to the Craft Steak at MGM. But if I were to say my favorite steak place, I love Old Homestead at Caesars. I love the one in New York. So that's kind of no surprise. But it's just like an old school steakhouse. They bring the steak to you like out on a plate. There's no garnish, no nothing. It literally is just like a slab of meat on a plate. Love that. I also loved Del Frisco's, which is actually right off of the Strip. They have this amazing tomahawk steak. And then sushi. So the two sushi places I love are like places that I went to a lot in New York, and I go there here in town when I'm feeling a little homesick and I want a little bit in New York. And neither of these, well, actually Sushi Samba is one, and that's in the Venetian. It's not nearly as popular as it was years ago, but they have the El Topo roll, which I could literally have like 4 of those in one sitting. They're so good, but it's like a salmon and it has mozzarella on top, which sounds like it would be so disgusting, but it's so, so good. So I love the El Topo roll at Sushi Samba, and I love Koi, and that's in Planet Hollywood, and that's actually LA based, but I used to go to the one in New York in Bryant Park all the time because I used to work around there. And they just have a great dragon roll. Oh my God, their crispy rice. Their yellowtail crispy rice appetizer is so good. Kat, the next time you're in town, definitely hit me up. We have to go makeup shopping and go eat steak. Yes. Next, this is from Michele, 2 L's, _ I'd like to know about you and your husband. Where do you guys meet? How long have you been together? Has he been on your channel plantably? Love you. Oh, Oh, and she loves the fact that I'm a Virgo. Thank you. So my husband and I have been together for 22 years. We started dating right after college, so in 1996. Yeah, we dated for about 11, 12 years, and then we got married. He is in finance. We both went to NYU undergrad for business, and he went into finance. He kind of jumped around a bit in the beginning of his career, like we all do, and then he ended up being a mortgage bond trader for a very long time, and then he wanted to make a change. So when we moved out here to Vegas, he now does wealth management. So he's been doing that now since we moved here, and he loves it. He loves the change. He has never been on this channel. He doesn't plan on being on this channel. I feel like, I don't know, I don't want to like date myself, and I definitely don't want to speak for anyone else who's around my age, but I feel like social media and YouTube and all these things are still like a very, very weird and foreign concept to someone around my age. Like any other Gen Xers out there, it's, you know, this is still very uncomfortable. Social media is still very, very uncomfortable. I still don't think to post stuff. It's like such an effort. And so the idea of my husband even coming on camera just to like hang out and talk, it just would never be. He just joined Facebook. He's a Taurus, I'm a Virgo, so we're a very good match. We're both earth signs. We're the same age. We were both born in 1973. Yeah. Oh, his name is Miguel. He's half Puerto Rican. He's half Dominican. Born and bred in New York City. He was born and raised in Queens. That's like Miguel in a nutshell. Next question. Hey, here are some questions for you. This is from Camille P. Did you face any discrimination as an Asian American, not only when you were a kid, but also now in general, active and professional life? Oh, she has some other questions. Let me answer that one first. I think I have been incredibly lucky. I can probably count on one hand disparaging remarks that have been made to me from other people, like directly to me. What people have thought in their minds seeing me, I have no idea. You know, I don't know. I can't even guess. But yeah, I've been really lucky. I mean, I think I was born and bred Jersey, and then I went to NYU and stayed in New York City. And I think being in that part of the world, I didn't ever really have anything like negative kind of directed at me. You know, there's other things that annoy me because people assume, like when I'm on the subway, some people just start talking to me in Korean or Japanese, and I'm like, I'm Chinese. So I don't like people assuming, or if I walk into a department store, like in New York, they now have a lot of people on the floors who speak Chinese, and they will approach you to make sure you're getting the right help. So they'll speak to me in Chinese, and I'm like, you know, like, I'm a New Yorker, you know, I don't need translation. But that's not bad, and that's not negative. That's just me being an asshole. I can't say that I've had to deal with any sort of, you know, negative, discriminatory remarks or actions made towards me, which I'm so thankful for. Do you have a dream to achieve anytime soon or in the future? Win the lotto? Is that a dream? I would love to win the lotto. In all seriousness, I don't know. I don't really have a dream. I'm not really a dreamer. I just, if there's something I want to do, I'm like, I'm going to do that. And I just kind of just do it and see where it takes me. Did you learn something about life from your experiences that is important for you and that you agreed to share with us? I'll be glad to listen as an 18-year-old. Oh, Camille, you're 18. You babe. So like a phrase that I always like to live by, and I don't know if this has been spoken by someone else or if this is actually like a famous quote or anything. I don't know if I heard it someplace else, but you don't want to do anything you're going to regret, and you don't want to regret anything you've done. And that's always what sort of keeps me in check. It helps me make good and right decisions down to like what I'm going to eat. It's like, okay, if I eat the salad, or if I eat, you know, this, or if I cheat on my meal, am I going to regret cheating, or am I going to regret passing up like a really good meal tonight? And sometimes it's like, you know what, I'm going to cheat because this looks really good, and I'm going to be thinking about it, and I'm going to be like, damn, I wish I had that ice cream sundae or whatever. And if that's the case, then have the ice cream sundae. But once you have that ice cream sundae, don't regret it. So don't do anything you're going to regret, and don't regret anything you've done. Those are my wise words for today. There. Next question is, how would you describe your style in regards to fashion? What's a go-to Michele outfit? Well, my actual like working everyday style is like total slob because I work from home. I pretty much just change from my pajamas into like day pajamas. They're literally like the same type of clothing, t-shirts, sweatshirts. But my ideal fashion is I love the Row, the Olsen twins. I love their line. And if I had to be out in public more often and work in an office, I would dress like that. It's sort of like this homeless chic that just speaks to my Gen X self, but it just also looks really comfy and cozy, and it just looks super luxurious all at the same time. I really like that line. And then for like fancier type stuff, if you know anything about the Costume Institute's Heavenly Bodies exhibit that is going on right now actually, and will be done in October, I believe, that is like my ideal like evening wear, or everyday wear even. I've talked about this before, I think, and there's something, I don't know why, there's something very appealing to me about looking like a widow in mourning for the rest of my life. Just like a really high neck, black lace, puffy shoulder, kind of lace Victorian kind of dress. I just love that, with like a big, huge gold cross, and I'm not religious, and gold cross hanging down. That is like my dream, with like a black veil. That is like my like fantasy wardrobe, if you will. So that would be my fashion, just very dark and drapey. And this is from 511 Andy. I would just like to know more about you in general, including your husband, which I've already answered. Why did you move to LV, Las Vegas? Why did you move to Las Vegas? So, like I had mentioned, my husband was between work, and we basically were just getting priced out of New York, and we were just kind of tired of it. You know, he was born and bred there. He had never lived anywhere else. And I had lived there for like 26 years. And it was just time for a change too. And my parents actually live outside of Las Vegas. So we had come to know the city outside of the Strip because of visiting my parents. And, it just sort of happened. Like, my husband was job hunting, and he started to look outside of New York. And I started, kind of like fantasizing about living like a quote unquote normal American life, having a car and a house and a backyard, these things that anyone from New York City is like, I don't even know what that means. Anyway, we thought about some other smaller cities and just ended up in Vegas because the cost of living here is lower. My parents are here. My husband actually loves Vegas. He loves to play poker, and he loves the climate. Both of us were also over the humidity. I don't think I could ever go back there because of the humidity alone. So anyway, that's why we moved to Las Vegas. How do you find the time to film and post videos daily? I have a full-time job. I do work from home, so I do have the luxury of being able to structure my day how I want. It's not like I have to be someplace 9 to 5. So that helps a lot. And I don't have children. So I do have a puppy who's actually in daycare right now. I wake up and I work. And I'm either working on YouTube or I'm working for my full-time job. And I do that like 7 days a week. I really enjoy doing YouTube. I really, really love my job. So none of it actually feels like work. I just kind of get up and do what I want to do. And that is what it is. I wouldn't call myself a workaholic. Like, I'm not that crazy, but I don't like feeling not productive. I have to do something that I deem productive every day. And, waking up on the weekends and running errands and watching TV, and that is not productive to me. That days like that make me absolutely nuts. Like, I have to do something. I have to produce something. So anyway, so that I guess is how I find time to do it. It's all I do. I'm a loser. How do you manage stress? I work out. And I think that is the key to managing stress. It keeps my mood balanced. It helps me make right decisions. It helps me make those decisions that I'm not going to regret. And I think if you don't exercise, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Our bodies are meant to move, and you have to do something. You have to do something. So that's how I manage stress. I just work out. Here is a question from Muse. Hey, Michele, you mentioned your love-hate relationship with New York City. What do you love, hate about it? Everything. Where were your old stomping grounds, fave restaurants? Have you traveled internationally? Where do you want to go? Do you have any siblings? Are you close to your parents? What's on your bucket list? All right, let me start with New York City. I was actually going to do a video just about New York and the move to Vegas and how different it is, but I will tell you what I love and hate about it. But really, it's everything. I love and hate the subway. It is amazing. It's the only city, I think, in the entire world where you do not need a car ever. You just never, ever need a car. But the subway sucks. It just sucks. It's always delayed. It's always skipping local stops. It's always crowded. I always end up in the car with no air conditioning. But it really is kind of like the heart and soul of the city. It's the subway is amazing because you can find yourself on the subway with like the CEO of Morgan Stanley. You can find yourself standing next to Ethan Hawke or sitting across from Keanu Reeves. That has happened to me quite a bit. And you know, it's the subway. It's almost like the common denominator because even if you're wealthy enough to get an Uber or take a taxi or have a car and a driver, any of those things, most likely you will still have to take the subway at one point or another in your life. So anyway, I love the subway, and the subway in and of itself is like a character in the entire New York City story. So I love it and I hate it. I love and hate all the people. The people is what makes that city. It's what gives it the energy. It's what makes it so amazing. But I hate all those effing people. It's like maddening having them all around all the time. There's a line for everything. If you think you have like the one unique idea to go someplace when it opens, no, you're going to stand in line for an hour. So that was really stressful. The weather, like I love the Four Seasons. I don't think there's anything more beautiful in the entire world than a beautiful day in New York City. But the weather freaking sucks too. Like it gets so violent. It gets like so windy and so cold, and in the summer it gets so hot and so humid where it's just like it's so disgusting. I love that you can get anything at any time in the city, that it's like the first city to get a lot of things. It's where so many things are born, but at the same time that life is very, very exhausting. So kind of start to hate that after a while. We were like, oh my God, like I don't care about the latest release of this and blah blah blah. Like I just want to live like a normal, happy life. So yeah, so like the intensity of New York, I mean, you love it because it drives you. I think myself and almost every person I know in New York, they have more than one job. I don't know anyone that just kind of like rests on the weekends. I mean, people are just always doing something, and that's like the intensity of New York, which I love, but it will age you. And I love New York as a whole. It is my home. It is what I will always consider home. I will always consider myself an East Coaster, even though I'm technically kind of on the West Coast now, and it'll always just be my home for sure. Where were your old stomping grounds, fave restaurants in New York? Oh, I mean, there's so many, but I predominantly hung out downtown. I lived all around the Village and Chelsea and in Soho, and that's pretty much where I hung out, where I was most comfortable. Yeah, downtown is pretty much where I felt the most comfortable. It's where all my friends pretty much live. Most of them live in Queens, some live in Brooklyn, but most of them live downtown in Manhattan. Fave restaurants in New York. I feel like since I haven't lived there in a while, there's just been so many that have popped up or that have closed that I'm unaware of. I mean, I'll go to any Danny Meyer restaurant, Gramercy Tavern. It's comfortable. The service at any Danny Meyer restaurant is so good. The wait staff is always so knowledgeable, super friendly, like they're always super chill. Oh, the restaurants in the Time Warner Center along Columbus Circle are great. And if you're like a French Laundry Thomas Keller fan, you have to check out Per Se. Have you traveled internationally, and where do you want to go? I haven't traveled internationally that much. I've been to London a couple of times, twice or three times. Now I can't even remember, 2 or 3 times. And I've been to China twice. And I've been to Guatemala once. I've been to Costa Rica once. I've been to the Caribbean islands several times, actually. Turks and Caicos I've been to a lot, and been to Puerto Rico, although that's not international, and I've been to Canada. I've been to Montreal. So I would love to travel more. I'm dying to go to the Amalfi Coast in Italy. That is definitely on my bucket list, and I want to go to Patagonia, which is at the tip of South America. Definitely want to go to those 2 places. I would love to go to Japan as well, but I'm really not a big fan of long flights. So we'll see if that happens. I do have an older brother. He still lives in New York City. He is a detective with the NYPD. And am I close to my parents? Relatively, I'm not like, my mom's my best friend. No, we're not that close. But they do live nearby. I try and see them every week, and we chat or whatever. I don't tell them my deepest and darkest secrets because I think that's weird. I love them. I respect them. But I don't know that I would say we're like close, like we're super like tight. Next question. What do you do for a living? What's your favorite time of day? What's on your bucket list? What's the scariest thing you have ever done? I am a design director for a yarn company. So I'm like a knitwear designer, and we basically design patterns for knitters. So if you're a knitter, you go to a yarn store, you buy some yarn, you buy some needles, and then you flip through patterns to figure out what you want to knit if you don't already know. And you find, a sweater that you really like, and you buy that pattern. So I'm the one that either wrote out that pattern or helped write out that pattern. Yeah, so that's like the like nitty-gritty of what I do. But as a design director for this company, I help the owners of the company kind of come up with collections, and I've been helping with the development of yarn and things like that. So that's basically what I do for a living. My favorite time of day is early morning, is when I wake up. I wake up between like 4 and 5 a.m. in the morning every morning. So I like right before sunrise. That is my favorite time of day. My bucket list, like I said, I want to travel to those two places, the Amalfi Coast and Patagonia. I don't know. I don't really like want to do so many things. Like, I don't know, if you approach me and like, let's go skydiving, like, okay, like I'll give it a shot. Or let's go ride a horse. Okay. Would love to try that. Is it on my bucket list? Like, do I need to do it before I die? No, not really. I don't really care. I'm a pretty content person. Like, I'm pretty low key. There aren't a lot of things that I'm like dying to do. What is the scariest thing you have ever done? Maybe the scariest thing I've ever done was leave my corporate job. I used to work in IT, and I decided to take the leap and do knitwear design full time. And at that time, I was leaving to do it freelance. It wasn't like I was joining a yarn company like the position I have now. So that was pretty scary. Losing benefits and all those things, and losing and changing my lifestyle completely from a 9-to-5 office job to working from home. I mean, I remember, reading all these books about like how to work from home, like developing good habits and whatever. And that was, I guess, pretty scary. It wasn't scary at the time because it's what I wanted to do. I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I did it, and I was excited, and I was really happy that I was doing it. But looking back, that was a pretty scary decision. That was kind of one of those like close your eyes and just jump kind of decisions. Here's the next question. I know that you're a professional knitter, and I love to hear about your designs. Also, I love hearing how people meet their significant others and favorite restaurants, lounges in Vegas. So my designs, when I was designing independently, obviously I could design what I wanted. And that's a lot of cables, and I'll flash some pictures up of some designs that I've created in the past. And I like a lot of texture. I like kind of modernizing traditional kind of knits. But now that I work for a yarn company, I have to be the voice of that yarn company. And it's quite different. The yarn company is really known for their color, which is not something that I am terribly comfortable with, but I'm trying to. And that's one of the reasons why I took this position and why I wanted to work with this company was I really wanted to kind of get out of my box. I kind of felt like I was designing just a lot of the same thing kind of over and over again. So I really wanted to work with a company that was going to make me do force me to do something else. How people meet their significant others. Well, my husband, Miguel, was in one of my classes sophomore year at NYU. I saw him, and I developed a big crush on him. And so I pretty much stalked him for 3 years, our sophomore, junior, and senior year. Never spoke to him. He always seemed to have some sort of girlfriend, so I just never spoke to him. I was pretty shy in college, and it was only until like a year after we graduated that we ended up at a party together that we started talking, and that's how we met. But I stalked him hard for 3 years in college. Favorite restaurants and lounges in Vegas as I'm visiting soon. Gosh, I wish I knew which hotel you were staying at, because I feel like each hotel has their favorites, but let me try and run through this quickly. If you're staying in Aria or City Center, you have to go to Javier's if you like Mexican, or Bardo Brasserie if you like French bistro. Those are both at Aria. If you're at Bellagio, you definitely have to go to Spago. That's Wolfgang Puck's restaurant. If you're at the Venetian, you definitely have to go to Yardbird. which is like Southern comfort food. You have to go to Chica, which is Mexican food. Actually, some of my favorite restaurants, unfortunately, have closed in the Venetian because Mario Batali couldn't keep his hands to himself. If you're staying at Caesars, there is Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen, which I actually haven't been to, but I do love Gordon Ramsay restaurants. I've been to some other ones. There's also Old Homestead there. If you are in the mood for like old school sushi, nothing with like crazy, firecrackers and spicy mayo or whatever, you can definitely go to Nobu. That is a great restaurant. Oh, and the Cosmo. So the Cosmo is not a casino, it's just a hotel. So on the bottom floor, there's just a ton of like lounges and restaurants. And I think they're based all on restaurants that were in New York or are in New York. But Beauty in Essex is great. Blue Ribbon is there, which is also great. You can also stop by in there for Milk, which is like a dessert restaurant, which is just great. Absolutely amazing. So those are the ones that I would recommend. And of course, there was Koi and Sushi Samba that I mentioned. Koi is in Planet Hollywood. Sushi Samba is in Venetian. Someone said, I bet that you had a low-key but elegant wedding to match your overall style. Can we see a wedding photo? I don't have any wedding photos. So my husband and I basically eloped. We had been together for so long that it literally ended up being like, we have to get married. Like, let's just get married. So we both took a week off of work. We went down to City Hall on Monday. We got our marriage license. So in New York, you have to get your marriage license. You have to wait 24 hours. And then within 6 months of getting the license, you have to have the ceremony. And on Tuesday, we just went back to City Hall and just had like the generic ceremony. So no, I am not one. I'm not one for tradition. I'm not sentimental. And I just also couldn't see spending, not even the money, but the time in planning a wedding. I was like, no way. All the other things I could be doing, I was like, no, that's not me. So no, we did not have a big wedding. But right after we had the ceremony, at that point, we still had our pug, which was the first dog that we had together. And we went right back to our apartment, got our pug, and then we walked up to Shake Shack, which is in Madison Park. And they have like frozen doggy treats and doggy desserts there. So we both had a burger, and our little pug had a little Frosty Paws, I think is what they're called. Oh no, Puccini. That's what it's called. And that was it. And then we walked back to our apartment. Who are your favorite YouTubers? What is your dream job? Some of my favorite YouTubers, I actually did a top 5 Tuesdays of my favorite YouTubers. I think I named 5 of them. So I won't repeat those. And obviously I've done collaborations with some channels. I also won't mention them because they're obviously some of my favorites, like the Glam Dr. Mona Khan, Risa Does Makeup, Puffin's Wife. Those are obviously some of my favorites. But ones maybe that I haven't mentioned in this way, Flower Bomb 31. I love Natalie. I just think she's hysterical, and she covers a lot of luxury makeup, which obviously I like. And I also love Kate the Great Beauty. I actually just mentioned her in my favorites. She is so funny. She does these tutorials, and she always has a drink, and the drink is like a prop in the video. It's just great. Oh, I think I've mentioned Stephanie Marie on my channel as well. She's another favorite of mine, but I've talked about her before, so I won't repeat myself. I've mentioned Makeup Struggles. I've mentioned Georgia Harris. I've mentioned Spooky Lips and Fat Hips. And what is your dream job? I think I'm doing it. I mean, I think I love doing YouTube. I think it's so much fun. I think it's been a great way for me to feel like I'm connecting with people, which has been great, especially since I moved here to Vegas. I really don't know that many people here. I love what I do. I love designing knitwear. I love knitting. I love yarn. I really love yarn, and I love sheep. And I'm a very tactile person. So I just really, really love being able to work with my hands. And the yarn company that I work with is the absolute best. They're called The Plucky Knitter. They're based in Michigan. And I work mainly with 3 other women, and they are like fantastic. We've just become really good friends. I consider them really, really good friends. I don't ever introduce them as like, oh, this is my boss, this is my coworker. They're my friends. So it's great. Like, we just have such a great time. And that's the other piece of advice actually I would like to share with you, especially if you're younger than I am. If you're my age or older, you know this already. But when it comes to your job, I feel like, if you're if you're relatively intelligent, you can do anything. You can do whatever it is. Anyone can learn what the job is. It is so important to enjoy and to respect and to have fun with who you're working with. Because if you have your dream job, but your boss sucks and your coworkers are assholes, it almost doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter like what you're doing. Your day is going to suck. Your job is going to suck. And so I learned that probably after the first, I've had a lot of jobs, after the first few. And, you know, I kept going after these jobs, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to interview, and until I click with that person that I'm going to be working with, I'm not taking any of these jobs. I don't care about the pay. I don't care about like my job title or my description. I didn't care about any of that stuff. I did so much better at my jobs once I started kind of focusing on that, like the people at the job. Let's see. Whoa, these are okay. Now we're getting deep. We have some very interesting questions. Can you forgive? Can you forget? I can forgive. I don't hold grudges. Can you forget? I'm very forgetful. So yeah, I definitely will probably forget. Can you cry in front of others? I can. I'm not a big crier. I can't remember the last time I cried. When was the last time I cried? The last time I cried could have been when my pug passed away. That was about three years ago. I think that's the last time I cried. But yeah, I can cry. I was definitely crying in front of others at that point. Can you laugh about a joke that could hurt a person standing next to you? Definitely not. I have a very specific sense of humor, and I don't like when it's ever at someone else's cost. I don't like that. When was the last time you listened to Raindrops? Actually, the other night. It was pouring here in Vegas, which is not a common occurrence. And I was laying in bed, and it was at night, and the rain was coming down so hard, and it was like pitter-pattering on the windshield. And it was pitter-pattering on the window. I was just laying in bed and listening to it because it's such a foreign sound to me now. It was just so soothing. How do I think a cloud smells? I would say like moisture, like wet moisture. Weird questions, but mine. Well, thank you for those weird questions. Talk about your dog. How long you've been with him, her, breed, name, etc., etc. I have a Frenchton. She is half French Bulldog, half Boston Terrier. She is adorable. I will flash a picture up of her here now. And her name is Miss Fuzzy Butters. She will be 11 months at the end of this month. So her birthday is September 25th. She's a Libra. She will be 1 year. And we got her right around Christmas time. My husband actually just texted me, I can't believe she's going to be a year soon. And I said, I can't believe it either. But she is adorable. And she literally is the exact opposite of my pug. My pug was like so specific to New York. She was super anxious. She was super neurotic. She was very insecure. She definitely was a stress eater. You know, she was just such a character. But she also had a lot of attitude. You know, push her too far and she was like, get out of my face. So such a New Yorker. Miss Fuzzy Butters is just super smart, super confident, an alpha. I'm pretty sure she's an alpha. I take her to daycare on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays because I want to make sure she's socialized. And since I work from home, I can't play with her, and I feel bad if I'm just standing here and she wants to play and I can't play with her. Anyway, I take her to daycare 3 days a week, and oftentimes we will get a report back that she was like harassing a pit bull. Like, you know, she weighs about 14 pounds, and like a 90-pound pit bull will very often be terrorized by her at daycare. She'll just kind of go up to them, and I've seen her do this at the dog park. She'll just go up to like a bigger dog and like look up at them in the face and then just start yipping. And if they don't respond, which they don't normally, they're usually just like, I'm gonna ignore you until you go away, she'll actually like swat them. She'll pick up her little front paw and swat them in the face. And that's usually when I have to intervene because I'm like, you don't know if this dog is, you know, going to put up with your bullshit much longer. So she is very assertive, and she's super, super smart. I can see her observing me when I like open up a cabinet, and sometimes I'll catch her trying to like open up the cabinet with her little paws. Like I know she pulled on this handle, and I know my dog food is in here. She has figured out how to open up our door handles. So if I close a door, she'll jump up. We have those lever door handles. She'll jump up and like hang off of them and pull the lever down. So she's very easily trainable. She's very treats driven. Ebony Williams has asked me, would definitely love to know more about knitting and your advice on how to get started if you're a newbie like I am. Well, I would say it depends on how you learn. I can learn okay, like from a book, or I can learn okay, like through a YouTube video or something. But if you're someone that needs maybe like a little bit more hand-holding, or if you find that you're just becoming a little bit too frustrated, just go to your local yarn store. They always have like beginner knitting classes, you know, and because they want your business, they want you to come back for, you know, for needles and more yarn or whatever. They sometimes will be willing to sit down with you, you know, for free if you buy all the stuff and you're like, I really don't know how to knit. Do you have any advice? Sometimes they'll just sit with you and get you started. So yeah, that would be my advice. This is from Iris. Hi, Iris. I would also, oh, she wrote 2 questions. Okay. I loved the first one, so I'm excited. So I did a Q&A when I hit 10K. So I think she's referring to that. I love the first one, so I'm excited you're doing another one. Where did you grow up? Where were you born? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I grew up in New Jersey. Joyzy. Where were you born? Joyzy. What are some places you've traveled to and why? Most of the traveling I've done in my life has been for work. But I talked about some of the places I've traveled to internationally, and most of those, except for the ones to China, most of those were for vacations. How did you meet your husband? How long have you been together? I answered that. We've been together 22 years and met him at school. What is your favorite and least favorite thing about him? My favorite thing about him, he's definitely one of the smartest people I know. Okay, I'll say this. He doesn't take himself too seriously. I don't like people who take themselves seriously. Talk about like taking all the fun out of anything, but people who take themselves seriously are just like sticks in the mud, and just, you know, if you can't poke fun at yourself, why bother? So he doesn't take himself seriously, and that's probably one of my most favorite things about him. Least favorite things, my mother ingrained in me at a very, very young age to never ever be late. She just, you know, for so many reasons. My husband, although he's gotten better, he's never on time. He is never ever on time. Now I want to say the majority of the time he's on time, but you know, if he is late, it's always like 10, 15 minutes late. And that kind of pisses me off more, because I'm like, if you're just 10, 15 minutes late, then you could have been on time. If you're like an hour late, then like something happened. Like there was an accident, the traffic was bad, you overslept, like something major happened. But if you're just like 5, 10 minutes late, and your favorite and least favorite things, oh, about myself. Wow. I don't know if I have a favorite thing about myself. Maybe I'm incredibly, and I don't know if this ever comes off on video, probably not, because I just come on to talk about certain things, but I am incredibly silly. I like silly senses of humor. I am a very silly person. I always talk about how if I was a wealthy person, I would spend all my money on like elaborate practical jokes on my friends. So yeah, I'm just not a very serious person, and I like that about myself. I like that I don't take myself seriously, and I also don't take too many things seriously. Least favorite thing about myself. Least favorite thing. I mean, I'm not going to talk about anything physical, because that's just passé. I think, and this could also be one of my favorite things about myself, which is also a least favorite thing about myself, is that I am very in the present. I'm not a very good planner. I really live kind of like day by day. I live really by the seat of my pants, and I can plan for like a trip in a couple months, but I have a really hard time like planning my life. I don't really like that other question, like, do you have goals and dreams? Like, not really. Like, I just am. Hi, Michele. Hello. Do you have to fight against haters in your channel? I really like your channel. The best one, in my opinion, from France. Virginie. Oh, thank you. Not really. I mean, you know, I think I get the occasional like rude comment, but I wouldn't call them haters. So no, I also don't think I'm big enough. I'm a very, very small channel, so I don't attract the attention. This is from Marcia. Hi, Marcia. Hi, pretty lady. I have some fun questions for you. What is your dream car? Whatever my driver prefers. I really, I don't really have a dream car, because I really just don't. I'm such a New Yorker. Like, the concept of driving myself around is like so gauche. If you could put your name on any clothing brand, which one would it be? Like Chanel or Gucci? Wow. I have a lot. But the first one that comes to mind is Yohji Yamamoto. He is one of my favorite designers. I also love Comme des Garçons. I love Rei Kawakubo. Anything sort of avant-garde and deconstructed, I love. And also the Olsen twins, the Row. I love that clothing line. Everything that they've come out with, I absolutely adore. Their handbags, their shoes, all of their clothing. I love Rick Owens. That's another one I would put my name on. Oh, McQueen. I mean, McQueen has long passed away, as we all know. And Sarah Burton, his right-hand designer, has taken over since then, and I think she's done a fantastic job. I mean, obviously, like, McQueen is still thriving. It's still a wonderful, wonderful fashion brand, but I would have put my name on it when he was still at the helm. I do like what he did with the brand more than what she's done, even though it's amazing. If you could trade places with a celebrity, who would it be? Oh, if you could trade places with a celebrity. Okay, so not like be like for a day. Someone hotter. I would trade places with someone like Kate Moss, because how fun would that be? I mean, no one's life is perfect, but I just think it would be kind of fun to be Kate Moss. What is your favorite junk food or candy? I'm not really into candy. I'm not really into sweets, but my favorite junk food is French fries. By the way, can I get in on that shop steak and sushi day? This is from Jody. Yes, Jody, for sure. When Rented Fashion Cat comes, we will definitely all go out for some makeup, steak, and sushi. Please talk about knitting. What are you working on? Any new books or pattern releases coming up? What is your favorite yarn? I die that most of your subscribers have no idea that you are actually a celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. I'm a prolific hand knitwear designer. So when I freelanced, my name is on a lot of designs. So I think people recognize my name. If you're a knitter, you recognize my name. But, I work for The Plucky Knitter. So all the Plucky Knitter designs that have come out since I joined them officially last October, those all have my hand involved in them in some way. I don't think I'm coming out with any books with them. My favorite yarn is the Plucky Knitter Beauregard yarn. It is 60% yak, 40% cashmere. It's a DK weight. It is so luscious. This is from Freckles. No judgment at all. I'm just curious about your faith, spirituality, because your videos, personality really can lift me up when I don't want to get up and get going. Oh, that makes me so happy. What inspires you to, and do you ever struggle with emotions or lack of motivation? Love you so much. That makes me so happy. If anything else, if I can lift someone up and motivate someone to get going, oh my gosh. I have no faith. I'm not religious at all. People ask me if I believe in God. I don't know. It's just not something I think about. If I do ever start to think about it, I'm like, why am I thinking about this? I am never, ever going to know the answer. At least not while I'm alive. So I'm not going to waste my time thinking about it. I don't have much spirituality. My life is empty. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to say I'm not an emotional person, because I have emotions. I am a human being, but I'm not emotional. They don't run my life. I'm not guided by my emotions. And this is something my husband and I are also very similar in. We can get angry about stuff. We can be very, very happy about stuff, but we never ever make a decision or argue with each other when our emotions are running high. I always wait for them to calm down. Generally, and if you're close to me, you know this about me, I'll have an emotion and you can see me having it, and then I have to work through it in my brain. And then once I calm down, it's like, then I can rejoin civilization. Do I ever lack motivation? There are some days where by midday, I just want to sit on the couch, eat French fries, and watch YouTube. But I can usually snap myself out of it. And I will say I have designed my life the way I want it. I work from home because I like working from home. I do what I love. I love being part of the Plucky Knitter. I love designing knitwear. I love talking about makeup on YouTube. Like, that to me is like the most fun thing ever. So I generally can kind of talk myself out of stuff, but I'm kind of that annoying person. Like, I pop out of bed in the morning and I'm usually, like 99% of the time, I'm very, very excited to start my day. I'm very excited to have my coffee. I love coffee. I'm excited to like play with my dog. I'm excited to like, get in front of the camera and like record something. I'm really excited to like talk to my friends at work and like figure out what we're doing that day. Again, like 99% of the time, I'm usually like really, really excited to wake up in the morning. How did you meet your husband? What do you like to do for fun? Are there any movies, TV shows you recommend? I talked about my husband. What do I do for fun? I do like working out. I can't say that it's fun all the time, but that is sort of what I do in my spare time, if I have spare time. Outside of my day job and outside of YouTube, I actually don't have that much spare time, but I will work out in my spare time, and I guess that's what I do for fun. Are there any movies, TV shows you recommend? I haven't been to the movies in a really, really long time. TV for me is a total escape. It's what I turn on right before I go to bed. I last about a half hour and then I pass out. So I really like dumb entertainment. So I've been watching all the CW superhero shows. So I watched all of Arrow. I watched all of Flash. I watched all of Legends of Tomorrow, and I'm almost done with Supergirl. And I really enjoy them. You know, Arrow is so ridiculous because it's so serious. I mean, I think they've now started to make fun of themselves. And then Legends of Tomorrow is so ridiculous. But Flash and Supergirl, I think, are actually really, really good. I mean, obviously you have to just remove yourself from reality for a little bit. But I think they're really good. I think they're really cute. They're really cute shows. I am watching Better Call Saul. Season 4 just started. If you are a Breaking Bad fan, you have to watch it. If you haven't watched Breaking Bad, you have to watch Breaking Bad and then start watching Better Call Saul. Next question. How did you go from knitting to cosmetics? I've always had an interest in makeup, mainly because I've always been into art. I did a lot of drawing and painting in high school, and I actually wanted to go to college for fine arts. My parents wouldn't let me. And so I took as many of my electives I took in art. So I did a lot of sculpture, and I did some painting, and I wanted to get into fashion design. So after college, I took a lot of classes at Parsons, and just I've always really been into drawing. Drawing actually more so than painting. And, you know, did draping and sewing and all that stuff, and then went to FIT, took a whole slew of classes there, knitwear and drawing and sewing and all sorts of things. To me, cosmetics is sort of an extension of that. I've always been into fashion, and I've always been into medium. I've always really been into the medium. Like, I love different colored pencils, playing around with different color pencils. I love different paints and playing around with different paints and figuring out which paint does what and what it's best for, and, you know, what brush is best with which kind of paint. And so that love was just sort of extended to makeup. When and how did you learn to knit? What word of encouragement do you have for YouTubers starting out? So I taught myself how to knit in 2006, so about 12 years ago. I actually purchased a DVD off of Amazon.com. What word of encouragement do you have for YouTubers just starting out? I feel like, and this to me is like a comforting thought, but when it comes to YouTube, I think you get back what you put in. So I think you'll be able to grow a subscriber base, not quickly, but steadily, if you put out a lot of videos. If you don't put out a lot of videos, I don't think you're going to get that many subscribers. So to me, that's very comforting. To me, it's like, oh, okay, there's no secret trick. It's just the more you put in is the more you'll get out. And I think that's something to keep in mind when you're first starting out. What do you do when you feel down to cheer yourself up? And do you like BTS? What's BTS? I don't think I am their target audience. They sound fine, but I don't think that that's my kind of music. I like dance music, but I kind of like house music is sort of my thing. I do like hip hop, you know, trance occasionally, but I like more like dancey. My favorite music genre of all time, it's long been over, is trip hop. That was really big, I want to say like early, mid-90s. If you could go anywhere in the world to vacation but not live, where would it be? So I mentioned the Amalfi Coast or Patagonia. I think to vacation, like purely to vacation, would be the Amalfi Coast. Are you a vegan? I'm very far from vegan. So those were all the YouTube questions.